Unaware his wife secretly owns a multi-billion-dollar company. Ex-husband abandons wife and daughter for his dream mansion after their divorce. What happened next? He didn't just walk away. He slammed divorce papers on the kitchen table of a small suburban home, told his wife she was holding him back, and drove off to a glass mansion with another woman on his arm. That morning, Emma Collins steadied her hands as the paper shook in front of her. Her husband, Ryan, stood by the counter, his voice cold, his eyes full of a life he thought he deserved more than her. "I'm filing for divorce," he said. "I'm done living small." Behind him, their 8-year-old daughter, Lily, peeked from the hallway in her pajamas, clutching a stuffed bear, trying to understand why her father was leaving. He thought he was trading a boring wife for a dream mansion. He thought he was stepping into wealth, luxury, and a future built on marble floors and infinity pools. He thought Emma would be left with nothing but a broken home and a pile of bills. But what he never knew was this. The woman he just abandoned quietly owned something far bigger than his new house, an entire company worth billions, a digital empire that helped build the very financial system he was begging for loans from. On the same night he carried his suitcases into that mansion, Emma answered a calm phone call in her daughter's room and heard the words, "Ma'am, the board approved the merger. Your net worth just crossed $3.1 billion. This is not just a story about a man who left. It's about what happens when the person you underestimate most is the one holding the real power." Dear viewers, thank you for being here. If you watch without subscribing, it is like letting Emma's voice fade back into silence. When you click that button, you stand with every woman abandoned, every child left behind, and every quiet soul who chose to rise. Please, subscribe now, and in the comments, share where you're watching from. The sharp hiss of a boiling kettle broke the silence. Steam filled the small kitchen, wrapping around Emma Collins like a ghost of the life she used to dream about. She was 36, graceful but weary, the kind of woman whose eyes carried both patience and unspoken stories. Her movements were careful, habitually calm, yet beneath the surface, something heavy lingered. She poured the water into a chipped mug and stirred, the soft clink of the spoon echoing through the modest home she shared with her husband, Ryan Collins, 38, and their 8-year-old daughter, Lily. Outside, sunlight touched the curtains. Inside, the air was thick with quiet tension. "Morning, sweetheart," she said softly as Ryan entered. Tie half done, phone already in hand. He didn't look up. "Morning. Did you pay the credit card yet? They called again yesterday." Emma smiled faintly, hiding the ache behind it. "I'll handle it today. Don't worry." He sighed. "You always say that. I'm just tired of scraping by, Em. I want more for us. For Lily." She wanted to say, "We already have more than you know," but she didn't. Instead, she placed his breakfast on the table, eggs, toast, and black coffee, and brushed a crumb from the corner of his plate with quiet care. Once Emma's life had looked very different. Years ago, before she met Ryan, she spent long nights in her garage, coding until her fingers went numb. She had built a software system that helped small businesses manage data, a simple idea that grew faster than she ever expected. She called it Core Link Solutions. Investors later called it genius. Within 7 years, it became the foundation of a massive digital infrastructure company valued in the billions. But Emma never wanted fame or attention. Her mentor, the late Professor Henry Dalton, had warned her, "Success invites both respect and resentment. Protect your peace." So she did. She sold the public face of her company to a trusted board and remained its silent majority owner, using her maiden name, Emma Hayes. No one, not even Ryan, knew that the woman quietly cooking breakfast was one of the wealthiest businesswomen in the country. Back then, when Ryan proposed, she had been tired of working 18-hour days. He made her laugh again. He told her she was enough even without her empire. She believed him. For a few years, their life felt perfect, until his laughter changed. Lily skipped into the kitchen, her dark curls bouncing. "Mommy, can I bring the pancakes you made to school? The kids love them." Emma's smile softened. "Of course, baby. You can take 2. Ryan scrolled through his phone. "2? We barely have enough for the week. We can't keep wasting food." Emma's hand froze for a moment. She turned back to the stove, her expression calm, but her eyes flickered with something unspoken. On the counter, Her laptop pinged. A soft notification appeared. Quarterly board meeting in 1 hour, priority attendance required. She glanced toward Ryan. Honey, could you get Lily's backpack? It's in the living room. He groaned but got up, leaving the kitchen. Quickly, Emma opened the laptop. A digital dashboard appeared. Graphs, numbers, rising profits. The headline read, CoreLink Solutions surpasses $3.1 billion valuation. For a moment, she allowed herself a quiet breath of pride. Then she heard his footsteps returning and snapped the laptop shut. Ryan re-entered, backpack in hand. Who keeps emailing you so early? Just the school board, she lied smoothly. Parent volunteer stuff. Lily, stuffing her lunchbox, tilted her head. Mom, are you going to your other job today? Emma froze. What job, honey? The one where you talk on the computer at night? Lily said innocently. I told Daddy, remember? Ryan's eyes narrowed. What's she talking about? Emma smiled, masking her quickening. Heartbeat. It's just freelance work. I help small companies online. Nothing serious. Ryan scoffed. Maybe if you did something serious, we wouldn't be stuck in this house. Emma's hand lingered on the counter. There was a time his words would have cut her deeply. Now they just echoed against the wall, hollow and predictable. She wasn't angry, only sad that the man she once adored couldn't see the worth of what he already had. She turned to him, voice calm. We'll be fine, Ryan, like always. He didn't respond. Lily tugged at Emma's sleeve. Mom, will Dad come to my recital this time? Emma hesitated, her eyes darting toward him. Of course, she said softly, though doubt colored every word. Ryan's phone buzzed. A message appeared on the screen, half hidden but visible enough for the audience to catch. She's waiting. Don't make her wait again. His thumb hovered over the reply button. He stood, muttering something about being late, and left his untouched breakfast on the table. Emma watched him go, her face unreadable. She turned back to her laptop once the door shut. The reflection of her own face appeared against a spreadsheet filled with numbers too large to comprehend. A quiet, almost sad smile touched her lips. Maybe someday, she whispered, he'll see what he walked past every morning. Then her phone buzzed another message from the same company chat she'd hidden earlier. Emergency board meeting, legal notice inbound. Emma's eyes darkened, the warmth fading. Something bigger was coming. The cracks in her marriage are about to split open. The front door slammed hard enough to rattle the picture frames. Emma Collins looked up from the kitchen table, startled. The sound cut through the quiet house like thunder after a calm day. The clock on the wall blinked 9:47 p.m., 3 hours past dinner. Ryan Collins stood by the door, his tie loose, his eyes cold. He smelled faintly of cologne, too, expensive for his usual taste. His phone was still in his hand, screen dimming as he slipped it into his pocket. You're late, Emma said gently, standing. I saved your dinner. I ate, he said flatly, tossing his jacket onto the couch. You didn't have to wait. Her eyes softened, the way they always did when he came home angry. I wasn't waiting. I was working, and helping Lily with her homework. He scoffed, opening the fridge and staring into it, though he wasn't hungry. Working? You mean that little freelance thing you do online? Emma said nothing, only lowered her gaze. He shut the fridge and turned to face her. Emma, when are you going to start doing something real? I can't keep living like this small, boring life. We're meant for more. Her voice remained calm, even. We have more than enough. Lily's happy. We have a home, and you have a job you like. That's something to be thankful for. Ryan laughed without humor. A job I like? Emma, I'm selling cars to people who can afford what we can't even dream of. I'm tired of being the guy who parks someone else's luxury while I drive a rusted one home. He paced the kitchen, his words sharp, restless. Do you know what I saw today? A mansion. 6 bedrooms, glass walls, infinity pool, everything. That's the kind of life we should have. Not this tiny, suffocating space. Emma's hand tightened on the back of the chair. A mansion doesn't build peace, Ryan. It builds distance. He turned, sneering. You wouldn't understand. You've never wanted anything big. For a second, her calm cracked. She took a breath, forcing her voice steady. You have no idea what I've wanted. He frowned. What's that supposed to mean? Before she could answer, Lily's voice came softly from the hallway. Mommy? Daddy? Are you fighting? Emma turned instantly, kneeling to her daughter. No, sweetheart. Daddy's just tired. Go to bed, okay? Lily nodded sleepily and walked away, clutching her stuffed bear. The sight of her small figure retreating into the shadows made the silence heavier. Years ago, when Ryan lost his first job, it was Emma who held him together. She had been younger, full of faith in him. She sold her old laptop to pay their rent. When he doubted himself, she'd tell him, "You're not your job, Ryan. You're the man who'll build something better." Back then, he'd smile and pull her close. "You're too good for me." She'd laugh. "No, I'm with you because I see who you are when the world doesn't." But time had changed him. The kindness had turned to criticism, the charm into resentment. Now, he leaned against the counter, scrolling through his phone. "There's a real estate deal I heard about," he said. "A mansion on the market for half its value. If I could just find investors." Emma interrupted softly. "You think a mansion will fix? What's broken?" Ryan's jaw tightened. "It's not about fixing, it's about winning. I'm tired of feeling like I settled." Her eyes shifted ever so slightly, just enough for the audience to feel she's hiding something. Her face, calm but unreadable, gave nothing away. "Ryan," she said quietly, "what would you do if you suddenly had everything you wanted?" He looked up at her, confused. "What kind of question is that?" "Just curious," she said, smiling faintly. "Would you still be you?" He scoffed. "If I had money, I'd finally be free." The word hung in the air. Emma's heart sank, but her expression didn't change. She had heard something deeper in that word, a quiet confession. He didn't just want wealth, he wanted escape. After he left the room, Emma sat at the table again, staring at the half-empty wine glass beside her laptop. Her reflection shimmered faintly in the surface of the wine, half calm, half fractured. She thought about the last email she'd received that morning. CoreLink Global Board requests CEO confirmation for expansion approval. She delayed her response. She didn't want power, she wanted peace. But as she listened to Ryan's muffled voice in the next room, arguing quietly into his phone, she realized peace might no longer be an option. The sound of his voice grew clearer. "Yes, I'll come tomorrow. Don't worry," he whispered. "She doesn't suspect a thing." Emma froze. A second later, she heard a faint laugh from the other end of the line, a woman's voice, soft but sharp. "She'll never make you rich, Ryan. But I can." Emma's hand trembled around her glass. Her eyes rose slowly to the family photo on the wall, the one where Ryan's arm was around her shoulder, smiling. The glass slipped from her hand and shattered on the floor. Her breathing steadied. Her expression hardened, though her voice, when she finally spoke, was calm. "Be careful what you wish for," she whispered to the empty room. Then she reached for her laptop, reopening the CoreLink board window. At the top corner, a message blinked. "Upcoming merger approval. Next 30 days." Her fingers hovered over the keyboard, her face now unreadable. Something deep inside her had shifted. The next time Ryan talks about his dream mansion, Emma will let him have it, just not in the way he expects. The sound of papers slamming onto the table snapped the air in two. Emma flinched. The kitchen, once filled with the quiet rhythm of breakfast and laughter, now echoed with sharp words and heavier silence. Ryan stood by the counter, his face red, his voice louder than it had ever been. In his hand were divorce papers, fresh, crisp, and cold. "I can't do this anymore, Emma," he said, his tone cutting through her like glass. "I'm filing for divorce. I've made up my mind." Her breath caught. "What are you talking about?" He shoved the papers closer. "You heard me. I'm done living small. I'm done waiting for miracles that never come. I need a real life. A bigger life." Emma's voice trembled, but her words were calm. "Ryan, this isn't about the house or the money. This is about us, our family." "Family?" he barked, laughing bitterly. "You mean this routine? This boring, dead-end existence? I'm suffocating here, Emma. I can't breathe anymore." Her hand gripped the edge of the table for balance. "What about Lily? She's 8, Ryan. She needs her father." "She'll be fine," he snapped. "Kids adapt. She'll thank me when she's older, when she sees what real success looks like." Emma stared at him, eyes glistening. "You're leaving us for a dream, Ryan. A dream that doesn't even exist." He turned away, unable or unwilling to meet her eyes. It exists. I've seen it. A boy stands outside a mansion gate, 14 years old, dirt on his jeans, envy in his eyes. Inside the gate, boys his age laugh. Around a pool, wearing designer clothes and smiles bought by their parents' money. One of them notices Ryan and sneers. "Don't stare too long, kid. You'll fog up the glass." Ryan's fists clench. His heart burns with quiet humiliation. He whispers under his breath, "One day, I'll live like that. No one will ever look down on me again." That same hunger still lived in his eyes, now older, sharper, more dangerous. Emma saw it and knew it was useless to argue, but she tried anyway. "Ryan, I've supported you through everything, every failure, every job you lost. I stood by you when you had nothing. You think leaving is going to fill that emptiness inside you?" He paused, just for a moment. Something flickered in his eyes, doubt, guilt, or maybe fear, but it disappeared as quickly as it came. "I'm tired of being pitied, Emma," he said quietly. "Tired of pretending this is enough." Her voice broke. "So you'd rather destroy your family than face yourself?" He looked at her, then cold, detached. "I already made my choice." She stepped forward, her tone softening, desperate now. "Ryan, please. For Lily. Don't do this." He didn't answer. He picked up the papers, signed them with a heavy hand, and left them on the table. The pen rolled off and hit the floor, the sound echoing like a gavel. Emma stood frozen as the door closed behind him. The silence that followed wasn't peaceful, it was suffocating. Lily came down the hallway in her pajamas, rubbing her eyes. "Mommy, where's Daddy going?" Emma crouched down, forcing a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "He's going on a trip, sweetheart. He just needs some time." "Will he come back?" Emma hesitated. "I hope so." Lily hugged her tightly, and Emma held her until the little girl fell asleep in her arms. Then she sat in the dim light of the kitchen, staring at the divorce papers, her hands trembling but her face steady. She whispered, as if to herself, "He's not just leaving me, he's leaving himself." Ryan's car pulls into a gleaming driveway, a mansion shining beneath the sunset. Beside him, Vanessa, a tall, confident woman in her early 30s, smiles and places her hand on his arm. "This is it," she says softly. "Your new beginning." Ryan looks up at the glass walls, the shimmering pool, the marble floors inside. His reflection stares back. He doesn't look happy, just hollow. Vanessa laughs and kisses him, whispering, "You made the right choice." He forces a smile. "Yeah, the right choice." Cut to Emma. She's in Lily's room, packing small boxes, tiny dresses, old toys, family photos. Each item placed gently, as if fragile memories might shatter if handled too fast. Lily's voice from behind, "Mom, can Daddy see my new drawing?" Emma swallows hard. "He will, sweetheart. Someday." Her phone buzzes on the table. A number flashes across the screen, unknown, corporate. She answers softly. "Hello? Ma'am," a professional voice says. "The board approved the merger. Your net worth just crossed 3.1 billion. Emma goes still, her eyes close for a long moment. When she opens them, her calm is absolute, almost chilling. She glances at the divorce papers beside her. The ink from Ryan's signature has barely dried. She whispers, almost to herself, "He left just in time." A faint smile touches her lips, not of joy, but of quiet power finally waking. She looks at the sleeping Lily, brushing her hair gently. "From now on," she murmurs, "we do it our way." The camera pans out their small home, fading into darkness, replaced by the faint glimmer of city lights far in the distance, where Emma's empire silently waits. Tomorrow the world will begin to see who Emma Collins really is, and Ryan will wish he never walked away. The elevator doors slid open with a soft chime, revealing a wall of glass and light. "Good morning, miss." "Collins," a voice greeted. Emma stepped out, elegant, composed, and untouchable. The woman who once stood in a small kitchen begging her husband to stay was gone. In her place stood Emma Hayes, CEO of CoreLink Global, one of the largest private tech companies in the country. 2 years had passed since the divorce. The morning sun glinted off the skyline behind her, casting a halo of gold around her as she walked toward the boardroom. Her assistant, Maya Turner, a sharp 30-year-old with bright eyes and quick wit, trailed beside her with a tablet in hand. The Singapore deal is finalized, Maya said, keeping pace. The merger increased our valuation to $4.2 billion. Emma nodded slightly, calm and controlled. Good. Make sure our privacy contracts stay sealed. Of course. The doors opened to a long glass table surrounded by executives in suits. All eyes turned to her. Emma took her seat at the head of the table. Let's begin. Her voice was soft, but commanding. As the meeting continued, Emma's thoughts drifted briefly. The journey to this moment had not been easy. The first months after Ryan left were a storm of grief and silence. She had spent nights staring at the divorce papers, wondering how love could rot into greed. But she didn't break. Instead, she rebuilt slowly, deliberately. While Lily slept, Emma worked deep into the night, designing new strategies for CoreLink. She had turned her pain into power, her heartbreak into discipline. Now she wasn't just surviving, she was thriving. Her phone buzzed quietly. A message from Lily's school popped up. Parent-teacher meeting 3:30 p.m. She smiled faintly and typed back a reminder to herself. Be there. To the outside world, she was an empire in heels. To Lily, she was just mom. That balance, power, and love was her new strength. Maya cleared her throat gently. There's one more matter, Miss Collins. A small loan request came in from a real estate company, owned by Ryan Collins. The name hung in the air like a ghost. Emma's pen paused over her notepad. She didn't look up, didn't blink. Amount requested? She asked softly. $2 million, Maya said. He's developing a luxury mansion project. Looks like he's struggling with capital flow. Emma finally looked up. Her expression didn't change. Approve it. Maya hesitated. Are you sure? Emma nodded once. Approve it under our subsidiary. No contact. No exceptions. Her tone was calm, almost gentle. But beneath that composure, something flickered, a cold flame of understanding. Maya jotted the note and moved on, unaware of the storm she'd just set in motion. That night, the glow of the city faded into the warm light of Emma's home. She sat on Lily's bed reading Charlotte's Web. Lily, now 10, was half asleep, head resting on her mother's shoulder. Mom, she murmured, do you ever get tired? Emma smiled, brushing Lily's hair aside. Sometimes, but then I remember why I started. What's that? You, Emma whispered. Lily smiled, eyes closing as she drifted to sleep. Emma sat for a moment longer, watching her daughter breathe. In this quiet, her walls fell away. The powerful CEO disappeared, leaving only a mother who had rebuilt her world from ashes. She kissed Lily's forehead and whispered, You'll never have to chase what's already yours. Then, as she stood and walked into the hallway, her phone buzzed again, another email notification. The headline on the news alert froze her mid-step. Ryan Collins' luxury project faces bankruptcy, risk mansion deal in jeopardy. For a second, Emma said nothing. Then, she exhaled slowly, setting the phone down on the console table beside the family photo. Her eyes lingered on Ryan's face in the picture, smiling, confident, unaware. Her voice was quiet but steady. Karma doesn't knock. It walks in when had a bed. You least expect it. She turned off the light, the room falling into shadow. Outside, lightning flickered across the skyline, a distant storm forming. The storm isn't weather, it's consequence. And it's heading straight for Ryan Collins. The sound of breaking glass shattered the silence. Ryan Collins turned sharply, his pulse spiking. Across the living room, Vanessa, his girlfriend, stood trembling, the remains of a wine glass scattered at her feet. I told you, Ryan, she cried, voice sharp with panic. You promised this place was secure now. The bills keep piling up. The contractors want their money, and the investors are threatening to pull out. Ryan rubbed his temples, exhaustion etched into his face. The marble floors gleamed beneath their feet, the massive chandelier above them glimmering cold and expensive. What once felt like paradise now suffocated him. I just need more time, he muttered. The next deal will come through. Vanessa's eyes flashed. You said that last month. You said that when we sold the car. When we maxed out the credit cards. You've got nothing left, Ryan. Not even pride. He slammed his fist against the table. I built this. I just need a little help. She laughed bitterly. Built what? You borrowed everything? This house? This company? None of it's yours. The words cut deep because they were true. Ryan walked to the tall window, staring out at the empty pool below. The mansion that once felt like his victory now mocked him. His reflection stared back, a man who had traded love for marble, laughter for silence. 2 years ago, when he'd left Emma, he thought wealth would fill the emptiness she once occupied. But no matter how many parties he hosted or how much champagne he drank, peace never came. He remembered the day he invested every cent into his real estate startup, Collins Estates. He'd convinced himself it would make him untouchable. The funding came from a silent investor, an anonymous corporate branch that believed in his potential. Now that branch had gone quiet, payments delayed, emails unanswered, and every hour that passed, his debts grew heavier. "Ryan!" Vanessa snapped, pacing. "Sell your shares before it's too late." He turned to her. "And go back to nothing?" "No, I'll fix this. I always do." She threw her hands up. "You can't fix it, Ryan. You don't even own the land this mansion is built on." He froze, blinking. "What?" Vanessa crossed her arms. "You didn't read the fine print, did you? The title's under your investor's control until the project's complete. You don't own anything." The words hit like a blow. Ryan stumbled back into a chair, mind spinning. That evening, as the storm outside deepened, Ryan sat alone in his office, surrounded by unpaid invoices. He opened a new letter stamped in red, "Foreclosure notice." At the bottom, printed in small letters, was the logo of a financing company, CoreLink Financial Group. He frowned, muttering, "CoreLink." The name meant nothing to him, but to the audience, it screamed one truth, Emma. Ryan sighed heavily, tossing the letter aside. "Another loan shark," he murmured. Lightning flashed outside, illuminating the reflection of his own face, aging, tired, regretful. From upstairs, Vanessa shouted, "Ryan, the electricity just got cut off." He buried his head in his hands. "Just a glitch. It's temporary." But deep down, he knew better. The dream was cracking, and this time, no one was going to save him. Downstairs, the wind pressed against the mansion's windows, howling like a warning. Ryan didn't see the next email arrive on his screen. Final audit meeting scheduled, CEO Emma Hayes to review all outstanding accounts. The storm had just begun. The heavy door clicked shut behind him. Ryan Collins stood in the middle of the sleek, glass-walled office, eyes darting around the room. The silence pressed against him. The air smelled of wealth-polished wood, new leather, and quiet power. Across the table sat a woman in a charcoal suit, calm, collected, and unreadable. Her nameplate read, M. Turner, Financial Executive, Maya Turner, Emma's trusted assistant. Ryan didn't know that. He only saw another corporate gatekeeper, another person between him and the salvation he desperately needed. "Mr. Collins," Maya began, her voice cool and professional. "Thank you for coming. We've reviewed your case. Unfortunately, your company's payment is 60 days overdue. This meeting is your final opportunity to negotiate terms." Ryan forced a smile, trying to sound confident. "I just need a little time. My next investor is lined up. Once the funds clear, everything will be paid in full." Maya's gaze didn't soften. "You've said that for 3 extensions already." He leaned forward. "Look, you don't understand. This mansion, the project, it's my legacy. I built it from scratch. I just need a chance." She folded her hands neatly on the desk. "CoreLink Financial operates under strict policy, Mr. Collins. Unless payment is made by tomorrow, ownership of the property and all assets tied to the loan will transfer to our parent company." Ryan froze. "Transfer? To who?" "The owner prefers privacy," Maya replied, her tone unchanging. "But I can tell you this much, she's known for making quick decisions." For a moment, Ryan couldn't breathe. He stared at the glossy surface of the table, seeing not his reflection, but the version of himself he once believed in, successful, admired, unstoppable. Now, that man was gone. He had gambled everything. His savings, his dignity, his family. And now the walls he'd built to protect his pride were closing in. His voice dropped to a whisper. "Do you know what it's like to lose everything? To give your life to a dream and watch it burn?" Maya studied him carefully. "Sometimes," she said softly, "losing everything is the only way to learn what matters." The words struck him harder than she intended. He sat back, staring at her. For a strange, fleeting second, Something about her tone reminded him of Emma, gentle but firm. He shook his head, trying to dismiss the thought. Please, he said, his voice cracking now. Whoever she is, this owner, this person, let me talk to her. I'll convince her I can turn things around. Maya's expression didn't change. I'll pass along the request. Ryan gave a shaky laugh, running a hand through his hair. I'd give anything to meet the person who owns this empire. He didn't notice the small smirk that flickered on Maya's face before she looked away. Maya stood, gathering her papers. You'll receive our final notice by morning, Mr. Collins. He nodded numbly, staring after her as she left the room. The door closed behind her, and his world felt smaller than ever. Down the hall, Maya pulled out her phone and typed a message. Her reflection in the elevator mirrored the faintest hint of satisfaction. Text message. He requested to meet you in person. She pressed send. Across the city, in a high-rise office bathed in gold light, Emma's phone buzzed. She read the message silently, her expression unreadable. Then, with calm precision, she typed back, schedule it. The faintest smile touched her lips as she set the phone down beside a framed photo of Lily. The game had just shifted, and this time, she held every card. Tomorrow, Ryan will finally meet the owner. But the woman behind the glass isn't the one he remembers. The doors to CoreLink's top floor opened with a heavy metallic hum. Ryan Collins stepped inside, his heart hammering so loudly he could almost hear it echo through the sleek glass hallway. Everything around him gleamed, polished floors, minimalist design, quiet power. The kind of power he used to chase, but never truly touched. A woman at the front desk rose from her seat. Mr. Collins, the CEO will see you now. He nodded stiffly, adjusting his tie, though his hands were trembling. Right. Thank you. He followed her directions toward the corner office, massive, glass-walled, overlooking the entire city. As he approached, he saw a figure standing by the window. Her back turned. The skyline stretched before her like a kingdom she ruled in silence. Ma'am, the assistant said softly, Mr. Collins is here. The woman didn't move for a moment. Then, quietly, she said, send him in. The door clicked shut behind him. The world seemed to hold its breath. Miss Hayes? Ryan began, his voice unsure. Thank you for meeting me. I just wanted to explain. The woman turned slowly, and everything inside him stopped. It was Emma, his ex-wife, the woman he had walked away from. Ryan froze in place, unable to speak. His throat went dry, words dying, before they reached his lips. Emma? He whispered, as if saying her name might change the truth in front of him. Her face was calm, poised, unreadable. She looked nothing like the woman who once packed lunchboxes and wiped away tears in a small kitchen. Her hair was perfectly styled, her tailored suit a symbol of control. She gave a faint smile, not cruel, not kind, just knowing. You wanted to meet the owner, she said quietly. Ryan's mouth fell open. You? Me. He stumbled a step forward. You're behind CoreLink? Yes. Her tone was calm, almost gentle. The same company that funded your mansion, your business, your dream. He ran a trembling hand through his hair, eyes wide with disbelief. I don't understand. You how? You were just, her gaze sharpened. Just what, Ryan? A wife? A mother? Someone who didn't dream big enough for you? He swallowed hard, guilt creeping up his spine. Emma took a few slow steps toward him, her heels clicking softly against the marble floor. I built CoreLink from nothing, years before you ever met me. I kept it hidden under my maiden name. I wanted peace, not power. I thought love was enough. Her voice softened, but her eyes did not. I was wrong. The screen fills with flashes of Emma's past. A young Emma coding late at night in a cold garage, coffee cups stacked beside her. Her first investor meeting, trembling but determined. Her signing her first deal as Emma Hayes. Her working quietly beside a sleeping Lily after Ryan left. Each moment plays over the echo of Ryan's earlier words. You've never wanted anything big. Ryan lowered his head, voice breaking. You're the reason my company's failing. Emma looked at him, eyes calm, unreadable. No, Ryan, she said quietly. You're the reason. The silence that followed was unbearable. The only sound was the faint hum of the city outside the fawn window. Ryan's voice cracked. Was this your revenge? Emma shook her head slowly. No. Revenge takes effort. This was just business. He stared at her, tears gathering, but pride holding them back. So that's it? You win? Emma turned back to the window, her reflection overlapping his in the glass, two versions of the same past, but only one had survived it. I didn't need to win, she said softly. I just needed peace. A soft knock interrupted the silence. Maya entered, holding a document. Ma'am, she said, setting it on the table. The transfer is complete. Collins Estates now belongs entirely to CoreLink. Ryan's face went pale. No, this can't be happening. Emma didn't look at him. It already has. He took a shaky step backward, the weight of his choices finally crushing him. As he left the office, the door closing behind him, Emma stood motionless, staring out over the city. Her eyes softened only once when her phone buzzed. A message from Lily's school. Parent Appreciation Day next week. RSVP? Emma typed back, I'll be there. Her expression gentled, but her voice, when she finally whispered to herself, carried quiet warning. Some storms don't destroy, she said. They reveal who was built to stand. The world will soon learn of Emma's rise, and Ryan's public fall is only beginning. The flash of cameras lit up the room like lightning. Journalists filled the hall, microphones raised, flashes bursting in every direction. At the front of the sleek glass stage stood Emma Hayes, poised and graceful beneath the bright lights. Her calmness was disarming. Her presence commanded the room. Behind her, the screen displayed the words in bold silver letters, CoreLink Global announces landmark acquisition. The audience buzzed with anticipation. This was no ordinary business deal. Rumors had already spread that Emma's next move would shake the real estate market to its core. The moderator stepped aside and gestured to her. Ladies and gentlemen, the woman redefining innovation, Miss Emma Hayes. Applause filled the room. Emma stepped up to the microphone, her voice steady and clear. Good morning, she began. For years, CoreLink Global has focused on technology that connects and empowers people. But connection isn't just about data. It's about community homes, families, futures. She paused. The audience leaned in. That's why today, she continued, I'm proud to announce our acquisition of Collins Estates, a struggling real estate development project. Effective immediately, it will be restructured and renamed Lily Estates, a sustainable housing initiative named after my daughter. The cameras erupted in flashes. The crowd murmured, realizing what had just happened. Emma's face remained calm, though her heart was steady fire. This was not revenge, it was correction. 2 years ago, Ryan had abandoned her and their daughter for that same dream, the mansion, the luxury, the illusion of success. Now she owned the very empire that had broken him. But she didn't smile. She didn't gloat. She simply looked out at the cameras and spoke softly. Lily Estates will represent renewal proof that even from the ashes of failure, something good can grow. It's never about how high you climb, but what you build that lasts. The applause returned, thunderous and emotional. Behind her, the large digital screen shifted to show concept art, beautiful green neighborhoods, solar rooftops, community parks. Emma stepped back, clasping her hands together. Her eyes, however, were distant. Somewhere deep inside, she remembered the woman she once was, the wife who cooked breakfast in a quiet kitchen, who believed love could cure ambition. That woman was gone, but her kindness remained. The scene switched instantly, a sharp contrast. Ryan Collins sat alone on his couch, staring at the TV. The same press conference played on screen. The words Lily Estates glowed behind Emma as she spoke. His eyes widened, his face drained of color. She bought it? He whispered, voice breaking. She owns it all? Beside him, Vanessa stood frozen. For weeks, she'd been restless, watching the walls of wealth crumble around them. Now the truth was undeniable. She was the investor, she said coldly. All this time? It was her. Ryan buried his face in his hands. I didn't know. I swear I didn't. Vanessa laughed bitterly. Of course you didn't. You never looked past your own reflection. He lifted his head, eyes red. Vanessa, please. But she was already walking toward the door, heels clicking against the marble floor. At the threshold, she turned back, slipped the diamond ring he had given her from her finger, and dropped it to the floor with a sharp clang. "Enjoy your empire of dust," she said, and left without another word. The echo of the door slamming was deafening. Ryan sat motionless. The TV continued to play. Emma's calm face filled the screen. She was smiling now, gentle, composed, glowing under the lights as the words, "empowering new beginnings," appeared beneath her. Ryan's hands clenched into fists. His jaw trembled. His reflection in the black TV screen looked like a ghost of the man he once was. For the first time, he understood the weight of everything he'd lost, not just the house, not the money, but the woman who built the world he destroyed. The camera slowly panned in on the television as Emma concluded, "Lily Estates will honor integrity, hope, and second chances. Because every ending deserves a purpose." Her eyes flickered toward the camera, as if she knew who was watching. Ryan's breathing quickened. His heart pounded in his chest. He whispered, "She knew I'd be watching." The television light flickered once, illuminating the papers on the table beside him, legal documents marked, "Final repossession. Tomorrow his name will make headlines not for success but for scandal, and Emma's quiet victory will echo louder than any revenge could." The sound of wind howled through the hollow mansion. Ryan Collins sat on the cold marble floor, surrounded by boxes and silence. The luxury furniture was gone, repossessed. The echo of his footsteps was all that remained of the empire he had tried to build. In front of him lay a single photo album, its leather cover worn from years of neglect. His trembling hands opened it. The first photo showed him and Emma, smiling in front of their old suburban house. She wore an apron, flower on her cheek, her hand on his shoulder. Beside her, Lily, just 4 years old, then grinned with missing teeth. Ryan's eyes burned. He turned the page. Photo after photo, Emma at her laptop late at night, Lily asleep beside her. Emma carrying groceries in the rain. Emma bandaging the cut on his hand after one of his failed construction attempts. He had called her unambitious then, but now, staring at her tired yet determined smile, he realized the truth. She wasn't unambitious. She was unstoppable. He was just too blind to see it. Ryan leaned back against the empty wall, clutching the photo to his chest. His mind replayed their memories like fading echoes. Her laughter in the kitchen, her soft voice telling him, "We'll be fine, Ryan. We always are." He had traded all of it for glass and marble, for pride and vanity. A flashback filled his mind, Emma, handing him a lunch bag before work, whispering, "Don't skip meals today." He had scoffed back then. "You worry too much." Now he'd give anything to hear her say those words again. A single tear slid down his cheek, landing on the photo. He wiped it quickly, ashamed of the man he'd become. Ryan reached for his phone, his thumb hovering over her name. "Emma." He hesitated, then pressed call. It rang. Once, twice, 3 times. Then, voicemail. Her voice came through steady, calm, familiar. "Ryan, I got your message. For Lily's sake, I forgive you. But for mine, I can't forget." The line went dead. Ryan stared at the phone, breath shaking, heart breaking. The silence returned louder than ever. Outside, the for sale sign swayed in the wind, creaking softly like a final goodbye. Tomorrow he will face the world one last time and learn what true humility feels like. The camera opened on a quiet park, bathed in golden sunlight. Children's laughter floated through the air. Ducks glided peacefully across a small lake, ripples glimmering under the soft orange glow of evening. Emma Hayes sat on a wooden bench, her daughter Lily beside her. A paper bag of breadcrumbs rested in Lily's lap. Every few seconds, Lily tossed a handful into the water, giggling as the ducks scrambled for each crumb. Emma smiled a real, unguarded smile. For the first time in years, her shoulders weren't heavy with secrets or pain. The storm was finally over. "Mom," Lily said, eyes sparkling, "when I grow up, can I have my own company too?" Emma looked at her daughter lovingly. "You can build anything you dream of, sweetheart. Just remember, build it with love, not pride." Lily nodded, swinging her legs happily. Emma leaned back, watching the sky change colors. The golden hour wrapped the world in warmth, and she thought about how far she'd come. She remembered the mornings she woke before dawn to pack lunches, the nights she coded quietly in her garage, the heartbreak of watching Ryan walk out the door. She had once believed love meant sacrifice. Now she knew love also meant strength, choosing peace over revenge, dignity over pain. In the distance, a gentle breeze carried the faint sound of a news anchor's voice from a passing radio. Former businessman Ryan Collins files for bankruptcy following corporate acquisition by CoreLink Global, now known as Collins Corp., led by CEO Emma Hayes. Emma closed her eyes, breathing in deeply. She didn't feel triumph, just closure. The world had witnessed her success, but this quiet moment with Lily was her real victory. As they stood to leave, Lily tugged her mother's hand. "Mom, look!" Across the street, a brand new billboard gleamed in the sunlight. On it, CoreLink's new logo had been revealed, its name changed to Collins Corp. Below it, in bold golden letters, the new slogan read, "Built from love, not greed." Emma gazed up at it, her reflection shimmering in the glass. Lily slipped her small hand into hers. "Is that for us, Mom?" Emma smiled softly. "It's for everyone who forgot where real wealth begins." They walked away hand in hand, their shadows stretching long under the fading sun. A calm voiceover closed the scene, Emma's inner thought echoing softly. "He thought wealth was built in mansions. I learned it's built in hearts." Thank you for watching. Emma's story to the end. If her journey from abandonment to quiet power touched you, please like this video, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to be reminded of their worth. Drop a comment below. I choose love over greed, so I know you were here till the end.